How can I best serve? How can I best serve? How can I best serve? I must have asked myself that thousands of times when I was on my 18-month travel journey and the months before the travel journey. And, and I think that I still do ask myself that, but not like I did before I had that kind of lightning bolt epiphany moment. This daily dose is going to be about finding your life purpose. Let's dive in. This is the third share on a post around my book, Worth the Fight, Acting for a Better World, A Guide to Spirituality, Psychedelic Medicines, and Overcoming Trauma, to commemorate the 7th year anniversary. We're doing some videos and some deep dives here. So this is going to be about finding your life purpose. As Deepak Chopra said so eloquently, ask the question and live the answers. So that how can I best serve was a huge, huge part of my journey. That again, must have been thousands of times that I'd ask myself, sometimes in front of the mirror, but otherwise, sometimes in meditation, sometimes in prayer, sometimes out in nature. And there was a long time where the clarity wasn't coming. And it was in month 17 of this 18-month travel journey that I write about in depthly in my book, Worth the Fight, where I was on the floor of a Grass Valley Airbnb, one of these beautiful places that I stayed in. I was rolling around on the floor when it hit me. It hit me like a lightning bolt of awareness, when I had clarity around this divine clarity around the veteran collective soul healing mission that ultimately would be my life's work and would inspire Worth the Fight. I had just gotten back from psychedelic science in Oakland, California in 2017, and I was processing the experience. Was really, really profound. And I just come across this veteran organization that was sending our veterans that were struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder to heal with ayahuasca in Peru, and at Soul Quest, which was a church that was doing the ayahuasca retreats here in Florida. I believe that Soul Quest has recently closed down, but they had done prolific work for decades and had thousands of people go through their church and heal at Soul Quest. So I'm on the floor rolling around in Grass Valley, California at this Airbnb, and I'm trying to deny that this clarity is not real and that this is not the work that I'm here to do. And that this was so aligned with what I was putting out to the universe. I was looking for my calling, looking for my purpose, my soul's calling, if you will. And, everything that I had done to that point, I was getting a little bit anxious here. It's month 17 of an 18-month travel journey. And this was all about figuring out my why. Why am I here? What is my work to do? I just sold a business and walked away from my corporate career on December 9th, 2015. And I'd been traveling for close to 17 months from that point with a backpack all over Europe, and spent a lot of time in Costa Rica. There was a one-way ticket to Costa Rica that ultimately had me through Central and South America. And then I had a 3-month trip in Europe, and it was all soul searching, figuring out, healing, decompressing, meditating, learning how to meditate, journaling my thoughts, deepening into my practices, my breathing practice. After I trained with Wim, that was part of my European adventures. I was in Poland and trained with Wim and his team at an inner fire retreat in December of 2016. And that was a really transformative time in my journey. And I was doing a lot of psychedelics before then and even afterwards to heal and to figure out, why am I here? What is my work to do? How can I best serve? And again, asking that question can be really, really powerful. Ask the question, live the answers. So we're kind of priming our consciousness to find the solution to the questions that we're asking. I was on a quest, so it was very kind of fitting and apropos that I was asking a lot of questions for my quest. When we break down the verb, the words, it makes a lot of sense that I would do that. And I was doing a lot of things that really lit me up and that were aligned with my values. I had a very clear plan, kind of a bucket list of all the things that I wanted to do to make it to these different countries. And I wanted to work at an eco farm, and I wanted to learn how to surf, and wanted to do my yoga training. These are all things that were part of my bucket list that I've did and accomplished. I could never stay up on the surfboard. I was awful at that, and it was so hard and so challenging. I almost drowned a few times in Costa Rica, and it's just really like brutal conditions for a beginner, and it was just it never happened. So that was something. Learning Spanish was probably another one that I'd set, and mi español es no bueno. Still not very good here in Miami. I should really look at opportunities for practicing more. I digress. So back to my calling, back to my life's purpose. It was asking the question constantly, and again, decompressing, letting go, clearing the energetic space for this to happen, for lightning to strike, so to speak. And I went to that psychedelic science, and then I came across this veteran collective soul healing mission. I remember having that first conversation with Ryan LeComp, and I write about my time with Ryan in Worth the Fight. Ryan was the first mover in this space. Back in 2012, he was a former Marine who struggled with mental health and had a profound healing with ayahuasca, and he was the first one to the party. We're here in 2026. There's these prolific organizations, the Heroic Hearts Project, and Jesse Gould. Have had him on the podcast a few times. Juliana Mercer, she's a dear friend and soul sister. They're doing incredible work at the Heroic Hearts Project, and veterans exploring treatment solutions. Amber and Marcus Capone, the Navy SEALs and Special Forces have healed over 1,000 veterans at this point. Have gone through their programs, or I should say, over 1,000 SEALs and Special Forces operators have gone through their programs, and they're doing a lot of work in conjunction with Stanford, where they're going for the brain scans at Stanford, and then they're going to Tijuana to have this ibogaine ritual. And it's really a profound experience, and it's sad that they have to go out of our country, that our warriors have to go out of the country to heal. And that was one of my big whys, like, what the heck is going on? Why is this the case? And this was back in 2017, but it's still in 2026, a major problem. But the movement is moving forward. This is mushrooming in our collective. Our veterans are showing the way forward. They're showing the possibility of healing, and again, showing us how to utilize these medicines responsibly and to walk this path with integrity and stewardship. So we can all heal, and this can be a big part of healing our collective energies. There's so much madness in our culture and polarization, and I believe that all of that is a projection of unhealed trauma. So there's an opportunity for us to get to the root and heal and come together and have a more collaborative spirit, a spirit of kindness, a spirit of conscious business, a spirit of doing things the right way, of honesty, integrity, etc. Those are all the principles of psychedelia. This movement has its challenges, it has its problems, but when we're doing the work in earnest. And that's what my work is about psychedelic integration and walking this path, the path of service, helping our brothers and sisters out, and finding my purpose. It again happened after this psychedelic science, after this conversation with Ryan. I just knew in every fiber of my being that this was my work, my life's work, and I committed to being the program manager for veterans for entheogenic therapy. There's a lot of acronyms here, but that was the group that Ryan had started, and so I teamed up with him, and we had a strong run in 2017 into 2018, and then we ran out of funding. But in 2017, we raised over $100,000. I pledged over $100,000 of my own money for this. It just felt like the right thing to do. It felt like that money was kind of blood money from corporate America, and I felt suffocated by having it. So I pledged and gave most of that away in the spirit of service. I wanted to do the right thing to help our warriors and help our veterans heal. I was probably overconfident in my ability to recreate myself as well. Conscious business has taken a long time for me. That's a whole nother podcast. Thankfully, it's 2026. I'm thriving. Big shifts in my work with priming prosperity pathways. I'm seeing the most incredible shifts and transformations in my clients that are tapping into this aligned abundance. And again, we're utilizing this what Dr. Hardy calls about this pathways thinking to again prime prosperity pathways with our conscious journaling practice, connecting to our breath via meditation, maybe a breathing practice, healthy boundaries with tech, good social connection, sleep optimization, all these things that help us have a regulated nervous system and help us to process emotions, which will again keep our nervous system regulated, which will be pure gold in 2026 and beyond. I think we've hit an inflection point with AI. Things are going to get really, really fast, and they've already gotten fast. And if people are struggling right now, they're going to struggle a lot more until they start to come to this path. They don't necessarily have to do psychedelics, but I think that we have to, have practices to cultivate awareness, to regulate our nervous system, a breathing practice. I always affectionately say psychedelics are not required. The breath work, a breathing practice can be just as powerful. But yes, the psychedelics can serve as a catalyst to start the journey. And they, again, that analogy that if we're stuck and that they can serve as that wedge underneath the boulder, and then the boulder starts moving a little bit. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I've got a little momentum and got a little bit more confidence, a little higher self-esteem, and I'm making better decisions. And then again, we're flowing more with that positive momentum. So it's my earnest hope and intention that this short video around finding your life purpose might inspire a few ideas for you to do the inner work, to maybe ask some of these questions and to lean in and to ask the tough questions that don't have clear answers. It was a very scary experience for me when I had that kind of revelation is probably the best word. And this divine inspiration and the creative vision that I couldn't get out of my mind. I was like, oh shit. I always joke, be careful what you wish for, because there'll be a time when it comes to fruition. And then for me, I was shifting out of this healing journey. Yes, I'm always going to be on a healing journey, but more towards a path of service and utilizing my ability to get things done, because I knew I had 10 to 15 years in corporate America. I knew how to get things done. And so there was a yearning to get back to work and to utilize my past experience in corporate America as a business owner to help to do this service work with our veterans. And then that ultimately is morphed into my coaching business, morphed into my book, Worth the Fight, and my coaching business, where at this point I've guided over 200 people through my magic and microdosing mentorship programs. And I'm again seeing the most incredible breakthroughs and transformations. And we're shifting a little bit out from Worth the Fight towards priming prosperity pathways, but it's still very much aligned with everything that we've done. It's just an evolution towards, again, priming prosperity pathways and opening our creative vision for the path ahead so we can better serve people and serve our impact. And I'm working with a lot of conscious leaders that are applying these principles and bringing them into their business worlds. And that gives me a lot of hope that we can maybe Trojan horse this and bring the principles, the psychedelic principles again of kindness, collaboration, of unity, of conscious business into our business practices so we can do things the right way this time around. Again, so much love to all of you. Thank you so much for listening. For more on the Worth the Fight book and message of hope and healing, please check out worththefightbook.org. If you are a high achiever looking to expand your impact here in 2026, there's a call link in the description below. Let's make 2026 be the best year yet, filled with momentum, clarity, and freedom. Let's freaking go. So much love and peace. Thank you.